My wife traded our marriage for a gym fling until her trainer ghosted her. You know those stories where people say, "I never thought it would happen to me"? Yeah, well, welcome to mine. Except, instead of winning the lottery or discovering I'm royalty in some tiny European country, I got the privilege of watching my wife transform into a stranger right before my eyes, and then decide she was too good for me. Hi, I'm Mark. 34 years old, warehouse manager, living the not-so-glamorous life in a quiet suburb outside of Denver. My life was simple, the kind of simple you don't appreciate until it's gone. Steady job, a decent house, and a wife I thought was my partner in crime, Emily. We weren't exactly a rom-com couple, but who was after 5 years together and 3 years of marriage? We paid the bills, ordered takeout on Fridays, argued over what to watch on Netflix, real-life stuff. Or so I thought. It all started about 6 months ago. Emily, out of nowhere, decides she's going on this massive fitness journey. Now, let me be clear, this wasn't some new year, new me phase. No, this was full-blown, cult-level commitment. One day she's binge-watching baking shows with me, the next she's signing up for this bougie gym downtown that probably charged extra just for breathing their air. Enter Brent, the personal trainer with abs so sharp they could slice bread, and a smile that probably got him out of every speeding ticket he ever had. Emily suddenly starts throwing around words like macros, HIIT, and detox like she's training for the Olympics. I was supportive at first. I mean, who doesn't want their spouse to feel good about themselves? I even picked up more chores so she could focus on her goals. Yeah, I was that guy, thinking I was earning brownie points for being the helpful husband while she was off crushing it at the gym. But here's where the plot twist comes in. The more weight Emily lost, the more she seemed to shed her entire personality, including any affection she had left for me. It wasn't just fitness anymore. It was an obsession. Our cozy Friday nights turned into her staging Instagram photo shoots in our living room, trying to catch the perfect angle of her gains. Mirror selfies, protein shakes, inspirational quotes about leveling up. My wife wasn't living with me anymore. She was performing for her followers. One Friday night, I tried to suggest we watch our favorite show, reclaim a bit of normalcy. She didn't even look up from adjusting her neon workout top in the mirror. Mark, I don't have time to sit around. I have goals. Goals? Since when did relaxing with your husband become a crime against progress? But hey, maybe I was being the boring one, right? Maybe I should have been grinding instead of wanting to chill. Then came that morning. I'm half awake, clutching my coffee like it's the only thing keeping me alive, while Emily's blending her daily kale spinach disaster smoothie. She's scrolling through her phone with that intense look people get when they're either trading stocks or posting thirst traps. Without even glancing at me, she drops it. I deserve more in life. I blinked, thinking I misheard her. More of what? She sets down her glass of green doom, finally looks me dead in the eye, and says, "This marriage is holding me back. I'm filing for divorce." At first, I laughed. I mean, what else do you do when your wife casually mentions over breakfast that she's tossing you out like last season's fashion? But she wasn't laughing. Nope. Stone cold, like she was discussing the weather. "I've outgrown this," she added, waving her hand like she was gesturing to an old couch she couldn't wait to dump on the curb. I just sat there, coffee going cold in my hands, staring at the woman who apparently decided overnight that I was dead weight. My brain couldn't even catch up to the words coming out of her mouth. Outgrown what? Emily? Me? Our life? She sighed, that patronizing sigh people give when they think you're too dumb to understand basic math. Mark, I'm becoming the best version of myself. And frankly, she motioned around the kitchen, doesn't fit my potential anymore. And just like that, she grabbed her overpriced gym bag and walked out. No tears, no drama. Just gone. I was left sitting there with nothing but the sound of the blender still whirring and the sinking realization that my wife had just blindsided me with a divorce announcement before 8 a.m. But oh, trust me, this was just the opening act. The real circus was yet to begin. You'd think after your wife drops the D word on you over breakfast, things couldn't possibly get worse, right? Oh, sweet summer child. I was so wrong. The days that followed felt like living with a ghost, except this ghost wore designer leggings and smelled like eucalyptus body spray. Emily didn't waste a second. She was already in full single and thriving mode before the divorce papers even hit the printer. She'd come home late, practically radiating smugness, phone glued to her hand as if it were surgically attached. The woman who once begged me to watch cheesy holiday movies with her was now too busy curating her personal brand. One night, I caught a glimpse of her phone screen, an Instagram post with the caption, "New chapter." Who dis? Yeah. Imagine seeing your wife announce to the world that she's mentally deleted you before the ink on the divorce papers is dry. But wait, it gets better. A couple of days later, I noticed something off. Our wedding photos? Gone. Every framed memory wiped from the walls like I was some bad interior design choice she regretted. Curious, and maybe masochistic, I checked her social media. Yep, I've been digitally erased. 5 years of memories? Poof. To her followers, Emily had always been this independent, gym-obsessed goddess who'd never been tied down by something as mundane as, a husband. I confronted her that evening. So, I see I've been deleted from your life, digitally, at least. She didn't even flinch. Mark, it's called moving on. You should try it sometime. The audacity nearly knocked me over. Moving on? I was still trying to figure out how my wife turned into an Instagram motivational quote with abs. But the real punch to the gut came a week later. I was grabbing lunch near work when I overheard two guys at the next table talking about some fit chick they were following online. I wasn't paying attention until I heard one of them say her name. Emily. My heart sank. Curiosity got the better of me, so I glanced over, and there she was, on his phone screen. My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, posing in ways I'd never seen before. And then I saw it, a link in her bio. Subscribe for exclusive content. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Emily had gone full influencer, and not the wholesome, smoothie bowl kind. No, she was selling premium content, if you catch my drift. When I got home, I was seething. She was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she hadn't just turned our personal life into internet fodder. Emily, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, what the hell is this subscription nonsense I'm hearing about? She looked up, completely unfazed. It's my body, my rules. And frankly, it's none of your business anymore. None of mine? We're still married. You're out here turning yourself into a paycheck while I'm cleaning up the mess you left behind. She rolled her eyes like I was some prehistoric relic who didn't understand modern content creation. It's just business, Mark. Get over it. And that's when it hit me, Emily didn't just want out of the marriage. She wanted to rebrand herself entirely. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the last thread tying her to a life she now considered beneath her. But if she thought I was going to sit quietly while she paraded around like some reality TV reject, she had another thing coming. Because this wasn't just a breakup. This was war. If I thought Emily turning herself into an online fitness queen was the peak of humiliation, oh boy, I hadn't even scratched the surface. Interstage left. Brent. Yeah, Mr. Abs for Days wasn't just her personal trainer. He was the mastermind behind Emily's glow-up delusion. It started subtly. Emily would come home, dropping his name like we were all besties. Brent says I'm making incredible progress. Brent recommended this amazing vegan place. At first, I played dumb, because who wants to believe their wife is getting more than just fitness tips from her trainer? But then she stopped pretending. One evening, she waltzed in, practically glowing like she just won a medal. Without so much as a hello, she dropped the bomb. Just so you know, Brent and I are dating now. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. Nope. Dead serious. You do realize we're still married, right? She shrugged like I was pointing out the weather. Details, Mark. You need to accept that I've moved on. Moved on? She hadn't just moved on, she'd sprinted into the arms of a guy whose entire personality could be summed up by protein powder and mirror selfies. Word spread fast. Mutual friends started texting me, hey, saw Emily and some musclehead holding hands downtown. You okay, man? Oh, I was great. Thanks for asking. But here's where karma started sharpening her nails. Turns out Brent wasn't exactly Prince Charming. My lawyer, Tom, absolute legend, did a little digging. Brent had a pattern. This wasn't his first time playing the let me rescue you from your boring husband game. 2 other women. Same story. He plays the supportive trainer, hypes them up, convinces them they're too good for their current life, and once they're divorced and the cash flow dries up, poof, Brent disappears faster than free pizza at an office party. And Emily? She was too busy posting #couplegoals gym selfies to notice she was walking straight into a disaster. The cracks started showing when Brent's charm wore thin. One night, I overheard Emily on the phone, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I don't care what your exes said, Brent. I'm not like them. I deserve better than your baggage. Ah, trouble in paradise already? Meanwhile, I was quietly building my case. Tom was gathering every receipt, every Instagram post, every dollar Emily funneled into her new life. She thought she'd waltz into court, better eyelashes, and walk out with half my assets. But I had other plans. Emily and Brent wanted to play games? Fine. But they forgot one important rule. I don't lose. Update. Do you ever watch someone walk into a room thinking they own the place, only to leave looking like they got hit by a truck named reality? That was Emily at mediation. She showed up dressed like she was about to film a reunion episode of some trashy reality show, designer blazer, sky-high heels, and that signature, I'm better than all of you, smirk plastered across her face. And Brent? Oh, he tagged along too, lurking in the background like the world's most useless bodyguard, scrolling through his phone because, let's face it, courtrooms don't have mirrors for him to admire himself in. Meanwhile, I walked in with Tom, my lawyer, my hero, the man who probably deserved a cape at this point. We didn't need theatrics. We had evidence. Emily thought this was going to be a performance. Cry a little, talk about how oppressed she felt in our marriage, and walk away with half my life in her designer handbag. Spoiler alert, that's not how it went down. Her lawyer started with the usual sob story, how Emily had sacrificed her best years supporting my mediocre ambitions. I almost laughed out loud. Yeah, because working overtime while she played Instagram model was such a burden for her. Tom let them ramble on, the calm little smile on his face like a man holding a royal flush while everyone else was bluffing. Then, it was our turn. Tom pulled out the receipts, literal receipts. Bank statements showing Emily draining our joint account for luxury spa days, designer clothes, and those ridiculous $15 green juices she claimed were investments in her health. But wait, there's more. He presented screenshots of her Instagram posts, captions like living my truth and no more holding back, painting a very different picture from the poor, neglected wife she was pretending to be. The best moment? When Tom unveiled Brent's greatest hits, his track record of wooing married women and vanishing once the money ran dry. Oh, and messages from one of Brent's exes warning Emily she was just the next name on his list. Emily's face went from smug to pale faster than you can say gold digger. Brent, suddenly very interested in the courtroom carpet, avoided eye contact like it was contagious. By the end of the session, the mediator looked like they just sat through the plot of a soap opera, and Emily? She walked out without that diva strut, more like a deer in headlights, clutching her overpriced purse like it could shield her from the embarrassment. And Brent? He didn't even bother to comfort her. Just trailed behind, thumbs flying across his phone, probably texting his next client. But here's the cherry on top. Emily realized that not only was she not getting the payday she dreamed of, but she was also staring down the barrel of financial consequences. Her empire was built on sand, and the tide was coming in fast. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt something I hadn't in months. Victory. But oh, we're not done yet. The real collapse was just beginning. If watching Emily walk out of mediation looking like she'd just been hit by a karma truck was satisfying, what came next was pure cinematic gold. Brent, we're building an empire, started pulling his classic disappearing act almost immediately after mediation. One day, Emily's still posting #PowerCouple selfies, and the next, Brent's nowhere to be found. No more gym dates, no vegan brunches, no staged photo shoots in front of cars they didn't own. At first, Emily tried to play it cool. She kept up appearances on Instagram, posting those cringeworthy motivational quotes like, "Sometimes growth means losing people who never deserved you." Oh, the irony. But behind the scenes? Total meltdown. I'd hear her pacing the house late at night, phone glued to her ear, leaving desperate voicemails. "Brent, call me back. We need to talk. This isn't funny." Funny? Oh, I was howling quietly, of course. Wouldn't want to disturb the queen during her downfall. A week later, one of her so-called friends spilled the tea. Brent had moved on to another client. A younger, flashier version of Emily, minus the baggage of a messy divorce and a drained bank account. Emily was livid. She stormed around the house like a tornado in designer sweatpants, slamming doors and muttering under her breath. Gone was the smug, untouchable diva. In her place, a woman realizing she'd bet everything on a guy who saw her as just another paycheck. Her Instagram posts got desperate. No more living my best life. Now it was, sometimes the people you trust the most are the first to betray you. Yeah, Emily, welcome to the club. But the universe wasn't done with her yet. Remember that little stunt where she tried to grab more assets by filing for emotional compensation? Well, Tom, being the absolute legend he is, filed a countersuit so airtight it could survive in space. He included every petty Instagram caption, every dollar she wasted, every manipulative text she sent. And just when Emily thought things couldn't get worse, bam, Brent blocked her on everything. Phone, socials, probably even carrier pigeon. I caught her one evening sitting at the kitchen table, staring blankly at her phone. The same phone she used to parade her new life around like a trophy. She looked defeated. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered the woman who told me I was holding her back while she ran off to play influencer with a Jim Brocon artist. So, when she finally broke the silence with, "Mark, can we talk?" I knew exactly where this was headed. She launched into this sad little monologue about how hard things had been, how she missed the stability we had, and how maybe we rushed into the divorce. I let her finish, nodded thoughtfully, then delivered the line I'd been saving for months. "Emily, you made your bed. Now lie in it." Her eyes welled up, but I wasn't falling for the crocodile tears. She chose Brent. She chose the fantasy. And now reality was serving her a big OL slice of humble pie. As for me, I was just getting started. Because Emily's empire hadn't just cracked. It was collapsing, and I had front row seats. If mediation was the appetizer, court day was the full course feast, with dessert served as sweet, sweet justice. Emily showed up to the courthouse looking like a shadow of her former self. Gone were the designer outfits and smug grin. Instead, she rocked the "I haven't slept in days and my life's in shambles" look, messy bun, dark circles, and a blazer that screamed last chance. Her lawyer looked equally miserable, probably realizing his star client's victim narrative had more holes than Brent's tank tops. Meanwhile, I walked in with Tom, cool as a cucumber. We weren't just prepared, we were overprepared. Tom had a binder so thick it could have been classified as a weapon. The proceedings kicked off with Emily's lawyer making one last pathetic attempt to paint her as the poor, abandoned wife who just wanted emotional compensation for being unsupported. Yeah, because spending thousands on spa days, designer handbags, and funding Brent's protein powder addiction was definitely a coping mechanism. Then Tom stood up, and it was like watching a masterclass in destruction. He laid out everything. How I supported Emily's fitness journey by picking up extra chores, how I encouraged her goals, and how she rewarded me by draining our accounts and turning our marriage into a social media circus. He read out texts where I offered to cook her healthy meals and suggested couples fitness classes, proof that I wasn't the deadweight she claimed I was. Then came the knockout punch, screenshots of Emily mocking me to her friends, calling me boring and Plan B, while bragging about her future with Brent. The judge's face said it all, disgust mixed with disbelief. But Tom wasn't done. He dropped the bombshell. Bank statements showing Emily withdrew over $25,000 for her self-care, evidence of Brent's scam history, and, oh yes, a subpoena journal entry where Emily literally wrote out her plan to bleed me dry and fund her new life. When the judge read that, Emily visibly shrank in her seat. Her lawyer tried to object, but the judge shut him down faster than Brent dodging commitment. The verdict? Brutal. Emily got nothing she wanted. No spousal support, no claim to the house, and, best of all, she was ordered to reimburse me for every cent she frivolously spent. Mrs. Carter, the judge said, his voice colder than a gym smoothie, this court finds your actions deceptive and financially irresponsible. You will repay $25,300 to Mr. Carter and forfeit any claims to shared assets. You could hear a pin drop. Emily's jaw hit the floor. Her lawyer just packed up in silence, probably regretting ever taking her case. As for Brent, no show obviously. He was probably busy love-bombing his next victim. Walking out of that courtroom felt like shedding a 1,000-pound weight. Tom clapped me on the back and said, "Told you we'd bury them." And bury them we did. Emily's empire wasn't just cracked. It was rubble. But don't worry, there's still one final scene to this saga. Because people like Emily, they don't go down without one last desperate act. You'd think after being obliterated in court, Emily would quietly fade into the background, right? Pack up what little dignity she had left and disappear like Brent did. But nope, because when you build your entire identity on attention and fantasy, you don't go down gracefully. You go down swinging. 2 weeks after the court ruling, just when I thought peace had finally returned to my life, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Emily. Except this wasn't the Emily I married, or even the Instagram diva I'd come to resent. This was a version stripped of all pretense. No makeup, hair a mess, wearing a hoodie that I'm pretty sure was mine from years ago. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying for days. "Mark, can we talk?" "Oh, here we go." I stepped outside, crossing my arms, making it clear she wasn't stepping foot back into the house she tried to steal. "What do you want, Emily?" She launched into this sad, rambling apology, how she lost herself, how Brent manipulated her, how she forgot what really mattered. It was a greatest hits album of regret. And then came the kicker. "I've been thinking maybe we could try again. Start fresh." I swear, I almost laughed. After everything. After she torched our marriage, tried to rob me blind, and paraded her affair around town. She thought I'd just, what? Take her back? I looked her dead in the eye, calm as ever. "Emily, I gave you everything. My support, my loyalty, my trust. And you threw it away for a fantasy. Now you're standing here because reality finally caught up with you, not because you love me." She tried to argue, but I wasn't having it. "This isn't a movie, Emily. There's no redemption arc here. You made your choice. Now live with it." And with that, I turned around and closed the door, leaving her standing there on the porch with nothing but her regrets. I watched through the window as she stood frozen for a moment, then slowly walked away, her empire in ruins, her bridges burned, and every escape route gone. Since that day, I haven't heard from her. Word around town is she's couch surfing, trying to piece together a life without Brent, without money, and without the adoring followers who quickly moved on to the next influencer of the week. As for me, I'm thriving. The house is quiet, in the best way possible. No more staged photo shoots in the living room or kale smoothies haunting my fridge. I got my life back. But every now and then, I think about how fast things can change. How someone you trust can turn into a stranger wearing a familiar face. And it leaves me wondering, could anyone truly forgive someone like Emily after all that betrayal? Or would most people slam the door and never look back?